If you are the person who is always chronically late, you already know that sinking feeling. You glance at the clock, confident you have enough time, and then suddenly you're sprinting, heart pounding, apologizing in your head, and thinking, why am I like this? You promise yourself it won't happen tomorrow, but tomorrow comes, and it happens all over again. Most people assume that being late means you don't care. Friends might joke about it. Coworkers might roll their eyes. Society loves to frame lateness as laziness or disrespect. But psychology tells a very different story. If you're always running behind, it's rarely because you don't value other people's time. It's usually because your brain experiences time differently. You don't live by the clock. You live in the moment. And that's not a flaw, it's just the way your mind works. One of the biggest reasons you misjudge time is optimism. When you plan your day, your brain automatically imagines the best-case scenario. You think, the drive will only take 15 minutes, because it can, late at night, empty streets, green lights all the way. You don't account for traffic, parking, the walk to the door, or anything that might slow you down. Psychologists call this the planning fallacy. You're not lying to yourself. Your brain genuinely expects things to go smoothly. This optimism doesn't just make you late. It also makes you resilient, hopeful, and less prone to stress. You navigate the world with a belief that things will work out, which is a beautiful way to exist, even if it comes with a messy timeline. Being hopeful makes you emotionally strong, able to bounce back from disappointments faster than most people. Another reason you struggle to leave on time is that your brain hates unfinished tasks. You can't walk out the door until everything feels complete. You double-check the stove. You adjust your clothes. You send one last message. You fix one small detail you notice at the last second. While others can drop a task midway and leave, you feel uncomfortable doing that. Psychologists call this difficulty with task switching. You're not slow or careless. Your brain simply demands closure before transitioning. Then there's time blindness. For many people, time feels like a steady countdown, tick by tick. For you, time feels abstract, almost elastic. When you're focused or engaged in something, anything, you can look up thinking 5 minutes have passed, only to realize it's been 40. This isn't a flaw. It's common in highly creative people or those with ADHD-like traits. Your ability to sink into a flow state, to concentrate so deeply, is a gift. But it's also why you suddenly panic when the clock reminds you that reality has moved on without your awareness. There's another factor most people don't admit. You rely on the rush of pressure to function. When you have hours to spare, your brain drifts. Motivation is low. Focus fades. But when you're almost late, suddenly everything clicks. Your thoughts become sharp. You act decisively. Some brains simply don't fully activate without urgency. That adrenaline spike, the "oh no, I'm late" feeling, is your brain's way of switching into high gear. You don't procrastinate because you're lazy. You procrastinate because you're an urgency responder. So what does this actually say about you? You're not irresponsible. You're not selfish. You're not broken. You have a brain that prioritizes the present moment over a strict measurement of future time. You're imaginative, hopeful, emotionally aware, and capable of deep, focused work. You live in the moment, and that gives you a perspective the world desperately needs. Yes, the world needs people who watch the clock and follow strict schedules. But it also needs people who get lost in ideas, conversations, art, and creativity. The problem isn't who you are. The problem is that the world isn't built for how your brain functions naturally. The solution isn't guilt or shame. It's adjustment. Set your alarms earlier than feels necessary. Build buffer time into your schedule. Accept that being on time for you requires extra structure and planning. That's not failure. That's self-awareness. That's working with your brain instead of against it. You can also rethink what on time means. Maybe it's not about arriving 5 minutes early every time. Maybe it's about giving yourself space to transition, to finish the loops your brain needs to complete. You can create small habits that honor your personality while still keeping your commitments. For example, prepping things the night before, laying out clothes, or mentally mapping the steps from leaving the house to arriving at your destination. If you are always apologizing, always promising, "I'm on my way," you're not alone. There are millions of people whose brains operate this way. The difference is understanding why you are late, not punishing yourself for it. You are not lazy. You are not careless. You are living in a way that values depth, creativity, and focus. These are strengths. They just need small adjustments to coexist with a world that runs by the clock. So the next time you glance at the clock and panic, remember this: your brain isn't broken. You are a different kind of thinker. You get lost in the moment, and that is a gift. You just need to give yourself the tools to bridge the gap between your internal time and the outside world. If this describes you, drop a running emoji in the comments so others know they're not alone. And if you want to understand the psychology behind your habits and learn how to work with your brain instead of against it, subscribe now. You are not late. You are just on a different timeline, and once you embrace that, everything changes.